Hi friends, today we are going to dive into something deeper than just the filmography, into Jim Carrey's life itself, full of ups, downs, losses and victories. Behind those bright grimaces and laughter hid a complex personal history, in which there was enough pain and struggle for a place in the sun. Jim Carrey was born into a family that struggled with poverty. When he was a teenager, his father lost his job and the family was on the brink of survival. They even had to live in a van, and Jim worked as a janitor after school to help support their family. These times hardened his character, and despite all the difficulties, he didn't lose his dream of becoming an actor. Success seemed like something far away at that time, but Jim used his talent for imitation and humor to start building his career from scratch, performing in comedy clubs. The first major step on the road to success was very difficult. It took Carrey a long time to break into the entertainment industry, and his first performances were not always well received. But he never gave up. His perseverance, belief in himself, and love of comedy helped him overcome setbacks. At one point, he even wrote himself a check for the $10 million he planned to earn sometime in the future and kept it in his wallet as a reminder of his goal. This symbol of self-belief helped him move forward. But fame and fortune didn't rid him of his inner demons. Behind the facade of cheerful and carefree comedian hid a man who struggled with depression. He repeatedly admitted that he experienced serious emotional problems despite his success. Jim found an outlet in meditation and spiritual practices that helped him cope with difficult periods in his life. One of the hardest blows for Carrey was the suicide of his ex-girlfriend Catriona White in 2015. This event left a deep wound in his soul. He blames himself for not being able to prevent her death, and the event was a real shock for him. The lawsuits and public discussions about the personal tragedy greatly affected his emotional state. Nevertheless, Jim continued to look for light in the darkness. He focused on art, beginning to paint and creating paintings that reflected his inner feelings. Painting became a way for him to express what he could not express in words or jokes. This art gave him the opportunity to rediscover himself and heal through creativity. Carrey also began to actively reflect on life and the meaning of existence. In interviews, he often shared his philosophical views, arguing that material success is just an illusion and the real joy is within us. He increasingly moved away from Hollywood race for money and fame, choosing a more conscious and meditative path. Regardless of all he has been through, Jim Carrey remains an example of incredible fortitude and the ability to transform. Despite depression, loss, and societal pressures, he found ways to move forward and help himself through creativity and finding inner peace. He taught us that even the broadest smile can hide deep pain, and that true success is not in the number of movies or millions earned, but in the ability to find peace within ourselves. Carrey's story is the story of a man who was able to turn his past into a source of strength. Well, folks, this is it. If you watched to the point, congratulations! You're officially in the club of people with impeccable taste. Subscribe, because here like me, you will never know what's going to happen next. Maybe a deep philosophical thought, or maybe I'll suddenly start dancing like The Mask. Either way, it won't be boring. And remember, life is like Jim Carrey's rubber face, unpredictable and very, very stretchy. See you soon!